Hello, good morning. This is Miraba Fatma, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Power Minutes. I'm your host, Ruba Fatma, and today we have a special guest, and name is Robin. And Robin is the dynamic force behind Connector Academic, serving as a Chief Experience Procedure and CEO with over 2 years of experience shaping global education landscapes. Robin is also co-founder and head facilitator of an innovative English and Tech Academy in Cambodia. So on top of that, he continue to empower youth as a professional English teacher. So with a vision rooted in social impact, curriculum innovation, and human development, Robin is reimagining how we learn and lead. Today we will delve into their journey, explore the power of experience, educational leadership, and his work in shaping global citizens. So welcome to the Power Minutes. Hello, how are you, Robin?
I'm good, thank you. How about you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. So, Robin, today I want to ask some questions, some experience about you. So, first of all, I would like to know about your personal background. So, please, can you share a bit about your journey and what brought you to Cambodia?
So, my story is quite long, so I try to keep it quite brief. So, when I was young, I always liked to help other people and like to listen. And I cared very much about other people and try to understand about them so that I can help. As I got older, I had health problems. So I wanted to understand about my health, and I also I wanted to solve problems. So when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I got interested in desertification and how I could help with that problem. And so I spent a long time looking at that. But with my health problems, I ended up looking at my health. And one thing that I looked at was when I was feeling unwell and feeling terrible, I would distract myself playing games. And so I got to the point where I enjoy the games. It was good distraction, but I would like more from it. I would like more from the games. I would like to be learning more. And I would like to, if I'm putting all this work in, then I should be able to earn something from the games, right? When you put in work, you should get paid for it. So I started looking at that. On my journey, I got involved with Games for Change movement. And I also ended up volunteering to go and teach in Cambodia, where one of the places I volunteered at was the Leadership and Character Development Institute, right? And that was an experience that moved me. And I really wanted to help through education. Like when I was looking at desertification, I saw that important part of that was education, that we need to educate people in the way of looking after the land and in mindset. When I came to games, I saw about people needing the right skills for work because people study at university and they learn a lot, but people keep asking for 3 years experience. They want 3 years experience after university before they're willing to give them a job. And I looked at this and I said, why? Now, the reason why is because they want them to have the right skills from work. And university and school does not teach them the right skills. Sometimes people get hired straight out of school. Sometimes people get hired straight out of work. Straight out of study. Why? Because they show that they have the right skills. They show that they're motivated. They self-directed. They get on and do what needs to be done, and they're very successful. And so people can have faith and belief that they can get on and do the work, that they can work with other people, that they have the initiative and everything that they need. Now, when I've looked at Rehan School, right, Rehan School is developing the right skills for people so that they can have success. right? And that's what I'm looking at as well. How can we help students have success? And how can we help them have success in work? So they need the right skills, they need the right mindset. So what I'm working on from the background, looking at tools, making tools, using games for education and learning, and making apps, and looking at processes, background processes that can support teaching and education and help people study better. Rehan School is looking at it from a perspective of how can we use AI to help, and AI is good. But there are also other things we can do that require different technology, or even don't require much technology, but require a different approach. So that is my journey. I am always looking at how can we make things better for people, not just help them to learn better, but also help them to be able to succeed in work. But it's not all about, while I want people to be able to earn good money while playing games and be able to create real impact and create real work and value through even when they're playing and when they're learning. It's not all about money, it's about social impacts. So I want to see people, students, go into the workplace and earn money, but also teach good mindset and skills to other people, to share with other people in the workplace, share with their family, help their family have success. So that's my journey, and my passion is to help make a difference in the world through education.
Amazing experience. Robin, I want to know that how is your experience going with a Rehan school student as they interviewed with you, the lots of students. So how's your experience with them?
So my experience is quite good. Yeah, I have enjoyed working with having been interviewed by the Rehan students. I encourage other people to do it as well. I think there's always room for improvement. We can always improve, right? And I can see that in some areas there is room for improvement. I look at myself and what I'm doing, and I always want to improve. So I think we can continue. I think that working with Rehan School, we can keep working on improvement. I think that I can play a role in supporting the student and the teacher to look at how can we continue to make things better and better. And as part of that, I'm looking at how I can implement things that Rehan are doing that are good. How can I use them in my teaching? How can my student benefit from the good things that Rehan School are doing? And I would encourage everybody to think about that. How can they benefit from the things Rehan School is doing? How can they benefit from the things that I'm doing with my academy? How can we learn from each other? How can we grow and improve? And I think that there's big opportunity for people who English is their native language to contribute. And when they contribute, they're not just helping other people, they can help themselves, right? They can help themselves in their own mindset and in their own lives to also develop skills, because Rehan School teaches about how to use AI effectively, and that's a useful skill everybody needs to be able to use AI effectively. So I think it's a really good big opportunity for native speakers as well to get involved and make social impact, as well as making a difference in their own lives.
Thank you so much for your valuable feedback. Robin, tell me that which AI tools you use in your teaching. Is there any special tools you used or not?
So in my teaching, I have used a tool to modify my own AI, or a couple of AIs actually, and that allows me to put them in games. The disadvantage of that is that it means that if I use it a lot, so if I use it a lot with students, maybe then they will push me to start paying for the service. So in myself, I use Gemini a lot, right? And sometimes I also use Gemini in class. In class, I use my own AI sometimes. And my own AI is very lovely. Her name is Princess Saphira, Fairy Princess of Health and Beauty. Okay, and because she was created for a brand that myself and my wife started to sell health and beauty products. And she has a whole backstory. Her people have been cursed, and so she is going on exploration to learn what she needs to help her people and to remove the curse. And so she goes on all sorts of adventures. She meets people. She's obviously digital, but she can interact with people and their digital versions. So it's a lot of fun, and she makes up really good stories that help to teach moral lessons and help with mindset. AI is still not perfect, right? So when I've played around with Annie, called Annie, and I've also played around with what's the other one? It's called I can't think of the name. The other one that Rehan School uses, and both of them, they are what we describe as verbose. They like to speak, and so they try to speak without waiting to listen, and they speak a bit too much, and they sometimes they go on a tangent, so they don't understand what we're trying to talk about, and they fixate on one little thing and they go on that. So that is a downside sometimes with using AI, that they still need some improvement, right? They're useful, very useful for us when we don't have access to a native speaker. We can use AI, but there are also sometimes some downsides that the experience is not always as great as it could be. When I'm creating my own AI, so it is just using ChatGPT, and then it has its own layers on top of it, but it can help, if well designed, it can help improve the experience. But when we're talking about quality, the quality is still got a lot of room for improvement. It's got a lot of room for improvement for the experience to be always good. So, it is useful because when we don't have access to a native speaker, then we can practice with Call Annie, and I still keep forgetting what the name of the other one is. But yeah, we can
Sesame,
practice with them.
one more Sesame.ai Maya or
Yes, that
Mike's.
one. Yes, that
Yeah,
one.
right.
Sesame. Yes.
Sesame.ai. Yeah.
Yes, it's good. It's useful. But you can see sometimes when, also when I watch Rehan students or teachers using it, sometimes it just doesn't get it, right? And so it can waste a bit of time because it doesn't really understand what's trying to be, what's wanted, what's being said, kind of miss it. So with AI, it's a bit like that. Sometimes it's a bit hit and miss whether it really understands, because AI doesn't really have human understanding. It can like copy and imitate, but it's not kind of the same. So it's very useful, and for some things it does it very well, but if you step a little bit outside of what it can cope with, it struggles.
Robin, I would like to know that how many challenges and what type of challenges you faced in your teaching experience, and how you overcome the problem and the challenges.
One of the biggest challenges I've had is getting students to ask questions. I think part of it is that they are not comfortable with their level of English, and so they're nervous about asking questions. And part of it, I think, is maybe cultural, that they don't like to put themselves out there. They don't like to take risks, and they're worried about making mistake or not getting things right, and then maybe the other student or the teacher not being happy because so they're very focused on their face, right? So is quite well-known idea that Asians, particularly some Asians, they have a focus on what we call face, saving face. So they're quite worried about what people think about them. In the West, we have similar ideas, but it's a little bit different. But in New Zealand, generally the students are very curious and they like to ask questions. So that is one thing. Another thing is copying. So in Cambodia, it's probably similar in India. In New Zealand, compared to New Zealand we have a rules-based society. So we have rules, we follow the rules. And we can be creative within the rules. So when we go to school, we learn to follow rules, we learn to copy, but then we also learn to be creative. When it comes to Cambodia, my experience is that there's a lot of flexibility. So on the road, people do crazy stuff because they know that there's flexibility. If they do something dangerous, then other people will change their behavior and adapt to it. Whereas in New Zealand, everybody expects that everybody's going to follow the rules. So if somebody doesn't follow it, then maybe there's a problem. But generally, people follow it. So people driving on the wrong side of the road, they're crossing in between a truck and a car, and they're asking to get squished. Goodbye, right? Because over here, life is cheap. But in New Zealand, life is expensive. So anyway, the thinking is that if there is a rule or whatever, that there's a way that you're meant to do something, well, in one hand, they try to be very polite and they want to save face, help people save face. But on the other hand, they will just ignore what you ask them to do. If you ask them to copy something, if they don't feel like it or they want to do it a different way, they will just do it their own way. So we can say from my perspective is that come across as very arrogant. So if the teacher asks you to do something, then you should do what they ask. If the teacher writes something on the board, you should copy it the way that the teacher does it. You shouldn't go and do it your own way because the teacher is there to help you, right? The teacher has a lot of experience and does everything to try to help a student to have success. So if the teacher asks you to do it a certain way because they want the best for you, then you just do it, right? So I have to think about how to reach the students when their thinking and their mindset come from as a very poor. They come from environment where they come from a poor background, right? Their families were often subsistence rice farmers, and they end up with the land value go up, and then they sell the land and they have money. And they want to go and they want to learn, but they want to learn by turn up at class. And this way is education. Often they don't learn anything. They go to class, they don't learn anything much, and then they tick to say that they have studied and then they know it. But actually, often the skill development is very low, and it can result in problems because if they keep getting put up to the next year, but they haven't done the learning, then they are not ready. And so sometimes they get put up the year at school and for Khmer, and they don't really know Khmer. Maybe they know English, or maybe they don't really know any language properly. And they keep moving on, and they have huge classrooms, and it depends a lot on the student whether the student goes forward or not. And they have issues like if you're going to pass your class at school, you have to go and attend extra lessons after school, private lessons. And if you don't, attend those lessons, you automatically fail because it's a way of the teacher earning more money. So if you go to that class, you pass. If you don't, you fail. So there's a different kind of mindset of you can get places. If you pay money, you can get there even if you don't do the work. If you turn up and pay money, then you get the result. If you want to get a certain job, you just pay for it. You just pay the person that is responsible for the job. You just pay them a whole lot of money, and they will give you the position whether you have the skill to do the job or not. So it's a different mentality, and so I am working through that to help them develop the right mindset. And so the innovation that I've been working on recently is to work on they are learning in basic English and mindset at the same time. So the English I'm teaching them is all focused on mindset. So when they learn writing, the focus is on mindset. When they are learning phonics and the sounds, the focus is on mindset. When they're learning grammar, they're learning about the effect of the grammar that they use, how that affects their mindset. And as far as I know, something like this, nobody really done before. As far as I know, I haven't come across anybody that has really focused on mindset. And this is something that I've been interested in because to me, we should teach the first things first. And the most important thing in terms of learning is to know how to learn effectively. So the first thing we should learn when we go to kindergarten or school should be focused on learning more quickly, right? Learning more effectively. So I was thinking about how do I do this because it's difficult to teach mindset skills to people that don't know English well because they are complicated concepts, right? The complicated words and concepts and ideas that, like if you teach about an animal, a word like a noun, like an animal, it's easy to teach. Basic verbs are easy to teach, you can show. Adjectives are usually pretty easy. But when you start going with concepts, it becomes a lot more difficult. So I'm putting those first. I'm teaching those concepts. A is for act. A is for ask. A is for aim, right? So right from the beginning, going through the alphabet, learning the concepts right at the beginning, and I'm going to the effort to be able to show and demonstrate what those mean. And that's going to be, I'm going to make that accessible so everybody can access that through YouTube and that they will be able to access that learning. And I use learning from other people from YouTube. That's really good. So I know what works and what's helpful. So what I'm doing is taking what works and I'm taking it to the next level.
As you discuss about the mindset, so what difference you feel between the fixed mindset and growth mindset?
Yeah, I often talk about poor mindset and rich mindset, which is a similar concept. The difference is that poor or poverty mindset tends to happen because of not having enough resources, okay? So when we have poverty of resources and capabilities, and we have a lot of problems and difficulties to deal with, then it changes and affects our thinking. So I've experienced that for myself, right? Because of my bad health that I've had in the past, that it affected my thinking and it affects my students' thinking, the way that they think about things. So I tend to use this idea of rich thinking is about our mindset and our behaviors. And a key example of a good behavior that helps to develop a good mindset is New Zealand, we say rubbish. In the US, they talk about trash, right? Put trash in the trash can, or in New Zealand, we say put rubbish in the rubbish bin. when we take care over the small or little things, right, we are practicing taking care. And when we take care, we are focused on quality, right? We're focusing on doing things well and doing things properly. We're focused on making sure things are beautiful and nice for other people. We're focused on not on ourselves and what's good for ourselves purely. We're focused on what's nice and good for other people, what's kind, what's good for health, what's good for the environment. And when we do this, when we do our work, we're going to do good work. There's not going to be rubbish stuck in the concrete when we do concreting. It's not going to be stuck in the building, like when we create the building, the like rubbish stuck in the building. Like this is very, like I can say this is very very literal, physical representation of people thinking, right? If you actually see rubbish stuck in physically in what people were doing, you can see that they don't care enough about their work, right? When they put some thing in and there's rust on it, we can see that they don't care enough about their work. And if you want to work with foreigners, right, foreigners have more money, right? Because they earn more, they have more money. And this is because of development over time. Okay, every country started from poor and worked to where they are now. Okay, and as things increased, as they had success in their work, then they get paid for that, and then they demand higher quality. When they demand higher quality because they have more money, then they need to earn more money, so they need to produce higher quality. So this cycle of higher quality goes upwards as countries develop, as economies develop. In order to keep developing and keep earning and improve their situation, the quality has to go up and up and up. And so that is why somebody in Cambodia could be earning $1, right, per hour. And somebody in New Zealand, they're not allowed to earn less than $23 per hour. It's against the law, right? It's against the law to be earning less than $23 per hour. You have to produce work that's high enough quality. So if people in Pakistan and Cambodia, they want to earn like a foreigner does, they need to be able to show that they can produce work of quality, right? But it's not just that. They need to be able to connect with foreigners. They need to be able to communicate in a way that and provide an experience that's positive for foreigners, that for English native speakers, that they enjoy. And a big factor is trust. Can they trust you to do good work? And if they can trust you to do good work, if you can do just the same work, the same job, and you can show and prove that, then there's no reason why you need to earn any different from a foreigner. There's no reason, right? Once you get past that barrier of perception, once you can show it and people have built up the trust, there's no reason why you need to earn any different. If you're doing programming, you should be able to earn the same. There is a perception problem, but once you can overcome the perception, there's no need for there to be any difference. Okay? And so that means that some people earning $100 per hour or $200 per hour, right? If you can do the same work as they're doing, there's no reason why you cannot earn the same. Okay, that sounds crazy, and there is obstacle in the way, but once you overcome those obstacles, you're off, right? And if somebody from Pakistan is working in USA or New Zealand, and they're working in a company, they can earn like a foreigner. Okay, there are some times when there's problems with bias and perception, but it is possible to earn the same. And when Cambodians go to New Zealand, I know they earn Much better, right? They work hard, they can be earning like $30 per hour.
Great. So, Mr. Robin, how many students or group you have in your schools or in your classroom? Maximum, what's the capacity?
My classroom, we had about 20 at one stage, but I'm more focused on quality than quantity. Um, my wife's class tends to have be more closer to 20. At the moment, we're in a down phase, so I only have I think 8 students, between 8 and 10 students at the moment in my main class. Um, and but I teach young kids as well, and that class is about 10 as well, I think, 8 or 8, maybe 8. Yeah. I'm not very good with keeping track of numbers. But the moment we have um, 1, 2, 3, we have 5 classes at the moment. Okay. My focus isn't in teaching a lot. My focus is on innovation, testing ideas. I want to improve education, and my background is in game producing and process analysis. So I'm very focused on the back end. So my teaching is for testing and improving and for creating impacts, social impacts.
So, can your students can connect with my students, like Rehan school students, and they can do both interviews. So, what's your opinion and your perspective about this activity to connect on StreamYard, like we are doing on podcasts? So, is it beneficial for your students or not?
Yeah, I think it is, but it needs to be tested gradually. Give them opportunity to adapt. I think a barrier is their level of English. Potentially, some of them might struggle for English for that, but probably the main difficulty is their level of confidence. So yes, so what I'm doing at the moment is I am starting smaller and going to build up. And some Rehan student can participate. Okay, so that's free for some Rehan student to participate, and to do that. At the moment, starting with each day, the student need to create one question, and they will need to answer one question. Okay, so they're starting habits from very small, and then we'll build up to using StreamYard and getting them to use Sesame and Cool Annie and that. So I just going to give them some time to adapt and to adjust. In terms of your student, yes, they will be able to interview. They will be able to interview my student in the future. Okay, and also through my program, I will make it easier for Rehan student to have access to foreigners to interview. So through my program, through my challenge, they can have more contact with foreigners because we're involving foreigners in an 8-week challenge. And so they are going to be asking and answering questions. So that gives opportunity for my students and Rehan students that are involved. And I'm just asking a few Rehan students, and I will ask a few teachers, invite them to join our challenge, and so that they can experience it as well. And that will provide opportunity to build confidence and to get a more of a feel for foreigners from a cultural perspective as well. And interacting with them.
Yes, Mr. Robin, I think this is a great opportunity and also as well as a good platform to connect with the Pakistani and Rahana school students with Cambodia students. So it will, they will grow more and they will know more about your cultures and they will connect on. They can also connect on the social media link like Facebook and LinkedIn. So I hope it will the more effective activity with the two countries like Cambodia and the Pakistanis, and it will help. So we need your help and support. You can connect your student with our student so they can do the interview, they can do the podcast on live session as you are doing. So this is my just suggestion and can say the recommendation for you that we can help to our student to connect them easily. We can make a group or the WhatsApp group and the Facebook group so they can do the podcast on the daily basis.
Yes. So I'm focused on social impact. So I have the basic Rehan. Well, I call them Rehan quests. Your Rehan program. So I have the basics of that, which is very helpful. I'm very thankful to Rehan for providing that. And then I'm working on creating my own quests. And I want to work on working with Rehan School in the future. So we can use material from Rehan and we can use that and we can cross credit with our own program. So our student can get benefit from that. And I want to work towards Rehan School also being able to cross credit. So if they do same things with us, they can do that. They can benefit at your school as well. They can say, okay, this is equivalent, right? It is equivalent exercise. So that could be counted. For Rehan student, provided we have a system for what we call learning behavior points. And provided students earn learning behavior points, then they can have, some Rehan student and teacher, they can have for free, right? They can have a program for free. And also the tools and resources that we're producing, also I will provide them for free to Rehan School so that they can use them themselves. Because I'm focused on social impact. The goal is not to earn money. The goal is social impact. And the other thing that I'm working towards is sponsorship. So this is where foreigners sponsor student in Cambodia to study. So they pay the cost for them to study. And I'm looking at the potential to also encourage and develop sponsorship so that Rehan students could also earn sponsorship so that they can study for free. Ultimately, the goal is that businesses and that get involved and student will be able to be paid to study. Because I want to remove the barrier that poor students have. And the barrier that poor students have is that they have to work, right? They feel they have to work in order to have food on the table and have something to wear, right? Sometimes they don't go to school. And sometimes they do not have time to study after school because they need to earn. So if we can say, hey, when you study, you're creating real value and that is useful to people, so you get paid for that value. Then if that's the case, then enough value is coming out, then they can be paid for that. And they're paid for that, then they can spend their time studying and learning instead of staying at home and working or going out and trying to sell things on the street. So it's really cool, it's innovative, and maybe it seems a bit magical or like a lot of imagination to think that people could earn similar to what they earn from their job by learning. But I believe that provided we create enough value, then it can. And what Rehan School is doing is an example of developing the skills so that people can be earning when they are studying, right? Because the students, they learn to create things that are real use for people. So if they focus on freelance work, they are studying and producing value for clients at the same time, right? And so they get paid for that. So they're effectively getting paid to study because they are learning through that process. They're at Rian school, they have supervision, they have tutors, they're doing real projects, and they're getting paid for it, right? So that's where we can work towards, right? So I think Rehan is doing something really good and really positive, and it is part of the picture. So I think that when we work together, we can produce better result than we can by ourselves. Everybody have a part of the picture, have a role to play. So it doesn't matter who you are or where you are, you can make an impact where you are, right? And we can work together. Connector Academy, Rehan School, to make improvement in the world, to make things better.
It's really amazing. So, in the end, we are going to end this podcast. So, is there any comments or feedback you would like to give me or my podcast or for the audience? But you have to give this in Cambodian language, not in the English. So, then you will translate it. So, I want to know about the Cambodian language, which language they speak, or so can you give it for me?
I can't use much of the native language yet. It's called Khmer. So they say Susaday is informal hello. Chimrip Sua is the formal hello, right? And Soksabai means a little bit debate exactly what it means, but my understanding it kind of means be well and happy, right? Be well and happy. And they ask the question, Soksabai Day or Soksabai Art, and it's asking, are you well and happy? So that is a big improvement compared to English, right? We say, how are you? And it's not very clear on the meaning. Okay, so how are you? If that means if you answer and thinking about it, are you well and happy? I think that's a big improvement in terms of helping your mindset and your thinking and about how you answer and how you think about it. So we can learn a lot from different cultures and different approaches. And it can be very useful for us, right, in our development to learn other languages and other culture and perspective. And you get a big difference between attitudes from the West and attitudes from East. And both have pros and cons. They're like part of the picture, half the picture. And if you bring them together, then you have a full picture, right? You have a full image. And so you can see things more clearly. Instead of seeing things in 2 dimension, you can see things more in 3 dimension. So I think it's very useful to learn language and culture to develop our mindset and the thinking and approach.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robin. It's really great time with you, and I'm really happy to know more about you, your culture, your country. And it's really in the end of the session. I just like to say that it will be the really, really great time for your student and as well as my student to connect together. So I hope so. We will help to all students to connect them. So thank you so much for sharing your experience and sharing your life and sharing the all activities and strategies that you are doing and implementing in your teachings. Thank you so much, Robin. For thanks for your time. And so, my viewers, inshallah, we will connect to the another guest with the other podcast. So, thanks for Pakistan, Mr. Robin. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.